It's that season, everyone, where you have to think to yourself before you leave in the morning, do I have my car keys? Do I have my wallet? Do I maybe have my jacket because maybe it's gonna be like 60, 50 degrees out in the morning? But no matter where you're at, it's fall, it's probably going to be a lot cooler, and it's time to bust out those fall fragrances that are sure to be turning people's heads. And I have 10 affordable fragrances that are going to do just that. They're gonna make you smell amazing, and people are gonna wonder, who smells that amazing? So let's check them out. What's going on, everyone? It's Eli with Common Sense, and I'm going to be bringing you 10 affordable fragrances that are going to be perfect. They push off your skin and they just smell absolutely incredible, especially in this kind of cooler weather, and you want something that you can spray on in the morning and maybe have it last until the evening. And all of them should be under $50 where you check them out. A lot of them are around the $30 to $40 range, and even some that are cheaper than 20 bucks. So without further ado, let's get started. Put it on auto, right? Oh, I did not. So the first fragrance we're looking at is from the house of Armaf. Now, Armaf has made a lot of amazing fragrances for the price. They make Club de Nuit Intense, Club de Nuit Sillage, so they make a lot of amazing cologne fragrances, but this one is sort of in a league of its own. It's just a very amber, rich, and spicy fragrance with a nice touch of vanilla and woods. So the name's a little confusing because it says oud. There is hardly any oud in this. This is more amber and just kind of sweet spices, but it does have a touch of that slightly Middle Eastern oud that does kind of give that name a little bit of truth to it. So definitely not super oudy, but it is definitely gourmand, comfy, and cozy. So I was picking this one up when I was visiting my new friend Hassan at his perfumery called Shar Perfumes in Sacramento, and I picked up a few different fragrances while I was down there. And this one I've been reaching for a lot of the times when I just want something that'll make me smell really nice, warm, and cozy. Oh man, this one just has such a comforting and just sweet and decadent kind of quality to this one. In the dry down, it sort of has a bit of caraway, iris, and amber, and I have seen some similarities between something like Grand Soir from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, but it does it in a really interesting way. It adds a little bit of roses, it adds a little bit of spices, and a little bit of that iris, like I said, but it still remains very boozy, amber heavy, and it smells absolutely incredible. Oh man, this just smells like an earthy kind of Middle Eastern amber, and I love spraying this on myself before I go to work. I've been wearing this one a lot to work lately. It lasts 10 hours on my skin, and I sprayed this earlier this morning and I still smell it over 12 hours later, and it can last even more than 24 hours on your clothing. Just an amazing vanilla, amber, and oud fragrance from Armaf, and that one is Armaf Niche Oud. So this next fragrance is probably one of the cheapest fragrances on the list. I've found it many times at my local rack stores for $13, but if you don't really feel like going out and looking for it, you can still find it for around $25 to $30 online. English Laundry's Crown is indeed a gem. So English Laundry makes a lot of amazing fragrances that smell very inspired and are very close to a lot of the best designer and niche fragrances out there. This one I feel like is a cross between Azzaro's Most Wanted and also Parfums de Marly's Leighton. You just have an amazing crisp apple, lavender, citruses, and cardamom. Oh my god. I just need to appreciate this in the air real quick. You also have a very comforting and inviting quality from the clove, the ginger, and the tonka here. So it has an amazing kind of gourmand spice to it, but it still smells really fresh from the crisp apple and the citruses here. But man, that cardamom and just everything that is put into this just makes it smell absolutely breathtaking. Very masculine, dark, but at the same time kind of fresh and sweet at the same time. But this stuff is perfect for a cold night out with your friends, and I like to wear this with a leather jacket because it just sort of adds that layer of kind of confidence, and I feel like I can pull this off whenever, you know, you just go out on a cold night with friends and you just wear something kind of nice. This is about a 5 to 6 hour fragrance, so you can go crazy with the sprays, and again, for $13, $15, whatever you find it for, you really can't go wrong with this one. One of the best ones from this house, and that one is English Laundry's Crown. Up next is a new fragrance that I just unboxed and did a little mini review on my last video. So if you want to go check that out, go click this video up here because I talked about 6 amazing fall fragrances. They were clones and they were extremely, extremely worth it. This one is Fragrance World's Lapis Lazuli. So this is a kind of mature gourmand take on Carolina Herrera's Saffron Lazuli. So I haven't got my nose on that one before, but I have to say the saffron, cloves, and elamai here are absolutely stunning. It's a mature gourmand kind of iris and rose with a little bit of a wheat accord. So definitely an interesting kind of accord. You don't really see that a lot in fragrances, but I think this stuff smells absolutely amazing. It smells kind of like a sandalwood and chai type of fragrance that just smells ultra creamy, spiced, and it has a really nice kind of pleasing edge, especially in the air. And this is definitely going to push off your skin for many hours. I want to say it lasts like around 9 hours and even longer if you spray a lot more on your clothes. But I remember this one lasting a really long time on the tester strip and on my skin. Just an amazing unisex, everyday kind of spicy and clean smelling fragrance. And often you can even find this one for under $30. And that one is Fragrance World's Lapis Lazuli. So one of my favorite fragrances that I discovered last year for the fall season was Swiss Arabian's Shaghaf Oud Azraq. So Swiss Arabian's Shaghaf is an amazing line. They have some Maison Francis Kirkjohn and other kind of Middle Eastern clones that they do, but this one is an amazing twist on Montal's Honey Oud and kind of takes some similarity from Parfums de Marly's Wazeer. Oh man, just a beautiful smoky honey, agarwood, and cinnamon, but you also get a healthy dose of leather, amber, and vanilla in the dry down. This just smells like an amazing fall candle with a nice heavy dose of honey and agarwood. So imagine a really beautiful kind of luxurious house filled with just really expensive candles and kind of oud. That's kind of what I get with this one. And the performance is amazing on this as well because it's a 12-hour fragrance at least, and you could smell it well into the next day. So if you go crazy, you could probably reach that 24-hour mark. This stuff leaves an intoxicating scent trail, and you're gonna have people asking what you have on. I've had a few people comment on this one asking me what I wear, but Swiss Arabian's Shaghaf Oud Azraq is just magical, and you can find it for around $30 to $40 depending on where you look. So amazing stuff here. If you want to check out any of the fragrances from the Shaghaf line, I'd recommend this one and then maybe the Shaghaf Oud Aswad because those are fantastic. And that is Swiss Arabian's Shaghaf Oud Azraq. So next up, we're looking at a designer fragrance, and this one can be often found for under $30, depending on where you look. You can even save a little money if you get it used. It's been out for a while, but this stuff is magical. John Varvatos Vintage is just an amazing, stunning kind of DNA. So when I smell this, I imagine someone packing, you know, a tobacco pipe on a stormy day, just sitting on their front porch in their house in the mountains. You know, it's just very picturesque. I don't know why I get that kind of in my head, but maybe it's from the tobacco, suede, and the woods in this one. So last year, one of my buddies came over and we did a video ranking some kind of affordable to niche fragrances for the fall time. And this one he actually ranked as his favorite one. He described it as a very forest-like kind of green fragrance that just reminded him of, you know, some like fantasy forest. And I remember this one just really stuck out to me as well. It's got a nice tobacco, suede, and woods. It definitely has some kind of classy notes like orris, rhubarb, and oak moss, but it does have a little bit of a green kind of freshness to it, a little bit of an herbaceous tone, but it smells very earthy and just extremely pleasing. But this one, I feel like it pays homage to a lot of classic fragrances without being extremely outdated. I feel like you can wear this one to family gatherings and really everybody's just gonna be put in a good mood, especially you when you wear this one because it smells amazing. One of the best from the John Varvatos line, and that's John Varvatos Vintage. So technically this next fragrance is discontinued. I didn't realize that until I put this list together, but at least as of right now, you can still find these for around $30 to $40 online. People are selling them on eBay, Mercari, so you can still pick these up for new or slightly used. So I still think it's really worth it, at least to get your nose on this one. This one is Bath & Body Works Smoked Old Fashioned. So with this one, you're gonna be smelling like a really fancy kind of drink. It smells like a smoked old fashioned. You have a smoked orange bitters, bourbon, verbin? I would say verbin or like vermin. You've got really interesting bourbon, vanilla, cedarwood, and smoked orange bitters in this one. Those are some of the main notes, and it's just incredible how a sort of entry-level fragrance house like Bath & Body Works, you know, they make candles, body oils, and stuff, but it's amazing to see them step it up and make a really photorealistic, kind of mature, masculine scent. And this one is just probably one of the best from last year's releases. I don't know how they do it, but they really do capture that photorealistic kind of orange, bitter, citrus kind of DNA. It just smells absolutely amazing, and it smells like a fun night out with friends at a bar. And I swear I can smell that really boozy bourbon kind of vibe in here. But some people have said that it's really synthetic in the opening from the citrus, but I don't mind. I think it still smells really nice. It's kind of sweet, a little bit smoky, but if you give it a little bit of time, in about 20-30 minutes, it really starts to settle and you get a much more smoky kind of boozy quality to it. And I am all for it. Amazing if you love kind of ordering these, or if you want to smell like a smoked old fashioned. So great for the fall nights out, and this one lasts a really long time. It's about a 10 to 12 hour fragrance, and again, for $30 to $40, it's a no-brainer. And that's Bath & Body Works Smoked Old Fashioned. I've talked about this one in the past, and I will die on this hill saying that this is one of the best lattafa fragrances that you will ever buy, especially for the price. Lattafa's musamam is one of the greatest Middle Eastern fragrances for this fall season because it reminds me of just a really kind of moody, rainy day. You know, you have the leaves kind of falling, and it almost has a burning leaf pile kind of accord in this one. I can't really explain it, but it kind of just reminds me of when you're taking a walk outside and you kind of smell the kind of burning fire and the burning leaves, especially in kind of rural areas, but that's what I get with this one. You've got saffron, frankincense, mandarin orange, and amberwood in this one. So amberwood is that ultra modern kind of aroma chemical that gives off a slightly musky and slightly animalistic warmth. But I gotta say, the frankincense and the saffron really do kind of take a main stage here and make it smell extremely warm, kind of decadent, and just ultra dark and kind of moody for this season. I don't believe it's listed, but I do feel like I get quite a bit of oud and incense in here. But whenever I see this bottle and think of the kind of fragrance profile that this is kind of capturing, I imagine just an Egyptian prince just kind of looking over his kingdom. But you know, at the same time, it does remind me of fall and the kind of burning leaves. But one of my favorite lattafa releases by far, and you can find this for about $20 on Triple Traders, and I actually have a code down there that you can use to save yourself 10% if you want to get anything from there. Amazing stuff here, and that's Lattafa's musamam. So I talked a little bit about some Middle Eastern fragrances and some designers, but we're going to be looking at a celebrity fragrance, and this one is Cristiano Ronaldo's Legacy Private Edition. This stuff is a hidden gem, and there's been some kind of talk about it maybe being discontinued, but I've still found it kind of popping up here and there. But this stuff is really amazing, especially if you can get it for under $40. I think I paid about 25 or 30 for this one, but I'd still pay 45 or 50 bucks for it because it's that good. This stuff is a powerhouse. You have maple syrup, tonka, amber, and vanilla as some of the main notes in this one, but it's just an amazing gourmand kind of caramel maple candy vibe with tonka, vanilla, and some spices. So when I saw this initially on the note breakdown, the maple syrup, that maple tar that you kind of see online, I thought this could either be extremely overwhelming or they could pull it off really nice. But I don't think it's overdone, and I think it's done very tastefully here. And I know it's not listed, but I also get a coffee accord here. So this stuff is a powerhouse and it lasts days on clothing. And I remember when I've worn this out, I've actually had people commenting on how strong it smelled because it's just that extreme. But you maybe want to go with maybe 1 or 2 sprays on this, maybe under your clothes, or if you just don't care like me, just spray it on yourself as much as you want. But if you really want like a gourmand kind of caramel maple syrup with a touch of spice and kind of leather, I think this is definitely going to be up your alley. And this is Cristiano Ronaldo's Legacy Private Edition. So heading back over to Middle Eastern fragrances, this is also in probably my top 5 or 10 Middle Eastern fragrances of all time. This one is Maison Alhambra's Kismet. So there is a Maison Alhambra Kismet Angel, which is a take on Kilian's Angel Share, but this one is a twist on YSL's Tuxedo. So it has that same DNA, but with an added coffee note. You also get some really mature sandalwood, vetiver, and patchouli, but to me, I just imagine Tuxedo without the violet leaf and the rose turned down a little bit, but just a little bit of a creamy and slightly more chocolate patchouli twist on that. This stuff smells really good, especially in the air and on your clothes. I remember I wore this last year to work a lot and I got a lot of compliments wearing it. I love wearing this with a black turtleneck or just a black sweater, but it does kind of put me in the mood for the holidays and just those really nice, pleasant, kind of cool days where you can just appreciate the finer things in life. But man, that creamy and chocolatey patchouli and cacao just smells really earthy, slightly gourmand, but it just does it in an amazing way. And there's a little bit of a nice spice from the nutmeg too, but for me, when I smell this, I imagine somebody wearing tuxedo while drinking kind of like a Mexican mocha latte. So you have a little bit of spice, the chocolate, chocolate, cacao, and the kind of coffee mixed with that DNA. This is about an 8 to 9 hour fragrance on me, but if you spray a lot, you can definitely get around 10 to 12 hours, and you know, you can spray this on your clothes and you will be getting compliments left and right. 30 or 40 bucks for Maison Alhambra's Kismet. And last but not least, a lattafa fragrance that I actually talked about last video, but I wanted to include it again because I have been wearing it heavily in my weekly rotation. So this one is Lattafa's Al Noble Wazeer. So imagine a twist on Pana Dora's Velvet Iris. This has one of the most amazing dry downs, and it kind of reminds me of a fruity kind of chocolate tea. So this one, it has a little bit more chocolate than the original, but there's definitely more mint and fruity kind of citrus notes in this one, and with the iris kind of taking a little bit of a back seat. But this one has a really kind of gourmand, comforting feeling. It has chocolate, mint, and I think it also had pear, raspberry, and some other really pleasant kind of oranges and citruses, but it smells very realistic. It has a nice fruity opening, but at the same time, it's very chocolatey, kind of earthy and gourmand, and it smells fantastic, especially on that dry down. It's an amber bomb with an extremely clean kind of musky edge, and on the dry down it's really powdery and iris heavy, and with the sandalwood it just smells ultra powdery, clean, and kind of sweet and creamy. It's amazing. But this is just a really interesting take on a sweet kind of gourmand fragrance with a nice kind of smoky, fruity, and also kind of powdery iris in the dry down. And the best part about this one is it's often under $20. So if you can find this for 18 or 19 bucks like I did on fragrancebuy.ca, scoop this up in a heartbeat because it is fantastic stuff. And I believe it lasts around 10 to 11 hours. So if you see this one on fragrancebuy.ca for 18, 19 bucks, scoop it up in a heartbeat because this stuff is perfect for this season. I want to say this was about an 8 to 9 hour fragrance, but if you use a lot more, then you can definitely get a little bit more coverage and more performance out of it. I think it goes really strong for like that 4 to 5 hour range. So this stuff is slept on. You can go a little bit nose blind to this one just because of how kind of green and ambery it is, but it is still there and it is going strong nonetheless. And that is Lattafa's Al Noble Wazeer. So that's it. 10 fragrances that are perfect for the fall season and that are perfect on your budget and on your wallet. You will be thanking me, so will your wallet, and also the people around you. So let me know in the comments if you have any fragrances that you'd recommend for this season, or if there's any that you'd like for me to check out, because I'm always looking for some of the best hidden gems and best fragrances for this season. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Eli with Common Sense, and until the next time, bye-bye. So let me know in the comments if you... Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Eli with Common Sense, and until the next... Stop it!